Hello, and welcome to Shmups and Stuff on Switch, and our first review of a recently released little title called Angerforce Reloaded. Angerforce is a vertical scroller from Screenbox Studios, and it makes a very deliberate attempt to mimic the style of classic 90s shmups. Previously released on Steam to seemingly very little fanfare, the game has now made its way to Nintendo Switch, so let's check it out. First thing you'll notice when starting up this game is, for a fairly budget title, $9.99 in the UK, it looks very neat. The menus are simple, but it all looks very professional. I will say there are occasional off translations here and there, but it is from a small Chinese developer, and in general, the translation is excellent. There are 3 modes to choose from: Campaign, Arcade, and Practice. Practice is what it says on the tin, but the way the other 2 modes are set up in relation to each other is one of this game's strongest points, and something we'll look at in more detail a little later. So we have 4 characters to choose from. They each have a little story told through short intro and ending cutscenes that focus on why they're angry and explaining why they're fighting. These are nothing special, but they do the job better than most, and don't repeat after you've seen them once. Each character also plays differently with vastly different special attacks, something that plays a big part in the game. Each character has 4 attacks: a standard shot, a bomb, and 2 specials, one of which is usually a range attack and one a closer melee style attack. All 4 of these are different for each character. Each character also has differences in the number of hits they can take and their general power. The game has a total of 7 stages, and anyone who is familiar with the excellent Psycho games, Gunbird in particular, will feel right at home here. There are different difficulty settings, but for the most part this is a far easier game than any of the older titles it apes, although there is still a challenge available for more experienced players. The game is styled as a 90s vertical shooter, and I think they've nailed that in terms of gameplay. The enemies come thick and fast, and even in early levels the screen will fill with bullets if you're not on your toes, dispatching enemies quickly enough, and before you know it, you're facing a big old multi-stage boss against whom making full use of all the tools at your disposal is essential. And what a lot of tools you have. As mentioned, there are 4 attacks, but it's not as simple as choosing your favourite and blasting away. Only the regular shot can be used continuously. Bombs are of the screen cleaning type and, as you'd expect, rare. The 2 specials use varying amounts of energy from an energy bar, and this bar can be replenished in multiple ways. One is by collecting the purple energy power-ups that some enemies release when killed. Another is by holding down the A button, which halts your firing, leaving you, obviously, very vulnerable. If you're being smart though, you shouldn't need to use that option often, as killing enemies quickly and collecting their energy can keep you with a steady supply. While your specials are more powerful than regular shots, you could get through most stages without them. However, you're going to want to use them for another reason. Killing enemies with your ranged special starts a chain, which will give you a score bonus. Keeping that chain going while mopping up enough energy to replenish your energy supply is very tricky, but it's the key to a high score. On top of this, you can use the shoulder buttons to slow down your speed for an advantage when weaving through intense bullet patterns, or increase it for quick getaways. If all this seems a lot, don't worry. It all fits together very smoothly, and it takes no time at all to get a good feel for how to make best use of everything at your disposal. In terms of visuals, the game looks fantastic. Wonderful semi-3D cel-shaded look. The characters are distinctive, the backgrounds are varied, and the transforming bosses are a real highlight, with short but sweet intro animations that sweep in to tell you their names. Music is good, although nothing stands out, and the sound effects are for the most part meaty. Some character shots can be a little grating, but in general the sound work is very competent. There's only one spot the game falls down in presentation-wise, and that is slowdown. It's not so noticeable early on, but in the later levels, and particularly the final boss, who I won't spoil here, it can really affect your game. It's in no way game breaking, but it is a definite issue, and one that mars an otherwise great experience. Now, we mentioned difficulty a little earlier. And that ties into the game modes on offer in, I think, a very smart and satisfying fashion. Arcade mode is tough. You either 1cc it or nothing. If you get hit, if you get killed, you're gone, no continues. Campaign mode is where things get more interesting. Here you have noob, normal and veteran modes of 3, 5 and 7 stages respectively, with a commensurate increase in bullet speed and additional phases for the bosses. An expert mode opens up upon completion of the main campaign, but it doesn't add any stages. In these modes you collect orbs as you play, which can be spent in 3 different ways. One is at the end of each level, where you can replenish bombs, power and health. 2 is if you do die, you can spend a significant amount to continue, although this is only available once per playthrough. The third option is available at the end of your game and allows you to purchase permanent upgrades, either to one specific character or general upgrades that affect everyone. Through this system, players of any level should be able to make progress in the game, and with the different difficulty levels, there's a constant sense of achievement. I saw the game called grindy elsewhere, but that is an absolute misunderstanding of how this system operates. You never need to grind here. The game is possible to play start to finish without a single upgrade. They are just there as optional extras if needed. And speaking of extras, the game does have a couple. During the campaign mode you can collect scrolls which reveal additional story elements for each character. These aren't hugely exciting, but they give you a little extra reason to keep playing and try all the different characters. There's also a leaderboard, but this is the game's other weak spot. It's local only, which, while not great, is fine. However, there is only one leaderboard for the whole game. So whether your score was achieved raw on arcade mode or powered up to the max on an easy campaign setting, all the scores are thrown together. Effectively, this is as good as no leaderboard whatsoever. At the very least, I'm hoping they will patch in a dedicated arcade leaderboard, as this is a major oversight and dramatically affects replayability. The game also has a tate mode, making it compatible with the wonderful flip grip. Although oddly, the option is only available from the in-game menu and requires turning on each time. It also doesn't alter the main menu screens, but this is a minor inconvenience. Overall then, we have a very solid shmup. It wears its 90s influences on its sleeve and is none the worse for doing so. The gameplay is varied without being groundbreaking, and the visuals have enough originality to make the game stand out in a crowded field. Slow down in later levels and meaningless leaderboards drag the experience down, but as a package, and at the price, it's a great addition to any shmup fan's library. I would heartily recommend this game, and it's a very easy score. It's a solid 8 out of 10.
So, there we have it. I thought this looked decent enough, but wasn't expecting much and was very, very pleasantly surprised. If you've played it, do let us know what you thought and like or subscribe for hopefully more videos and reviews of shmups and maybe some other stuff on Nintendo Switch. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.